H Money was telling you, my son just sparred Tank. Last Friday?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm from Southern California, from San Bernardino, California.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we went down. You know, my son's 16. He's ranked number one in the nation at 132.
He's 16.
He's 16. He's 16. We went down to Vegas with no contacts, looking to spar Devin Haney.
Oh wow.
You know, I wanted to put him in deep waters because I know I got something special.
Sure.
You know, so I wanted to see, like, you don't know if he's really special until you really, you know what I mean, until you put him in there with something special, right? So I end up getting a phone call. A guy calls me back and says, I got the best work in Vegas for you. He says, I got Gervonta Tank.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so at this point I'm pumped up. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm pretty excited. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they said you're set up for Friday at 5:30 p.m. for Tank sparring. Mm-hmm. So we go to the Mayweather gym. We fast forward. We go to the Mayweather gym, right?
Take time to tell the story. Put every detail and extra you want to put on it.
Okay, bet.
And you about to get some life out of this. So take your time.
Bet. So listen. Okay, so before that, I called Nikki Bay ends up calling me Dev's trainer back. You know what I mean? He says Dev's not available. You know, and then he asked me, "Is your son pro or amateur?" I tell him, you know, he's amateur right now. So then he starts telling me about his amateurs, and I'm like, nah, but we about to spar Tank. Mm-hmm. So his voice got a little high. He's like, what? You know what I mean? He's probably thinking like he's 16 and he's gonna spar Tank. You know what I mean? And so I could hear it in his voice. You know what I mean? That he was a little reluctant about this. You know what I mean? But you know, I'm confident in my son. So. You know, so fast forward, I get to Friday. We pull up at the Mayweather gym at 5:30. We get in the Mayweather gym. You know, everybody's looking a little mean, mad dogging and everything. You know, the vibe's a little off. Uh-huh. One guy keeps telling my son, you know, are you pro? You know, and he's telling them, you know, Tank is explosive, you know, and you know, like be careful, and you know what I mean. So finally, I get a little frustrated with him. I tell him, "Hey, man, are you the pressure guy? Like, what's up with you? Is that your job in here? To put the press on people or what? You know, we know what we're doing. You know, this is boxing. You know, my son been fighting since he was 7 years old. He's 16. He got some years in the game now. You know, so you know, so he basically backs off us, okay, and he finally comes back in the room and he says, Tank and Floyd have arrived, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, he says, get ready, youngster. You know what I mean? So my son start warming up. Meanwhile, Floyd Senior's in there, and it's a whole bunch of people. You know what I mean? Whole bunch of people watching. They were looking at me when we walked in the gym, like kind of like, what are you doing with this little kid? You know what I mean? I think they were looking like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Uh-huh. You know, so anyhow, so my son starts warming up. Floyd walks in the gym with Tank.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they arrived together. Tank and Floyd arrived together.
Exactly. Okay. So they walk in the gym. They walk right in front of us, right? They looking a little arrogant. You know what I mean? I could see it on them. You know what I mean? They're looking at who's this kid that's basically. I think they didn't know no age on him. So they're looking like who's this guy that's called Tank out, I guess, for some sparring. You know, they you know, so Floyd's looking us up and down. You know, Tank's looking a little bit. He's peeking. You know what I mean? And they're running to the back, almost like kind of, you know what I mean, like as if they gonna, you know, put some slaughter together, some slaughterhouse together or something. Mm-hmm. You know, almost like they about to try to kill my son. You know, so I see Tank, he runs off, stretching his arms, almost like it's going to be easy work. You know what I mean? Uh-huh. So my son is peeping all of this. You know, he's very observant. You know what I mean? He's peeping their body chemistry, everything. You know what I mean? So it kind of made my son tune in more. You know what I mean? He's, you know, so Floyd comes in there. He stands right in front of us and he says, we want an orthodox fighter first. He's looking right at us. The other two sparring partners is on opposite sides of the gym. You know what I mean? They're not even, you know, where they can hear him. You know what I mean? So he's obviously talking to me. You know what I mean? So at this point, I look at my son. I'm telling, you know, and I tell Floyd, I'm like, my son's orthodox. You know? So Floyd says, hey, you know, I don't give a fuck. Tell him to put his shit on and get in the ring. You know what I mean? You know, at this point, I see the little arrogance. You know what I mean? And Floyd starts talking, and he's saying that anybody could go one round. You know what I mean? He keeps saying that anybody can go one round. And in my head now, I'm trying to process this. You know, in my head, I'm thinking, does he think that Tank's going to stop my son after this round, or you know, what is he getting at? You know what I mean? So they hop in the ring. You know, my son hits him with a little jab. You know, Tank goes a little straight left towards the body. My son hits him with a little check left hook. Boom. I think when he seen that he got touched with that little check left hook, he kind of got on his bike. He starts moving around. You know what I'm saying? You know, so my son's basically, it's really not too many punches being thrown. My son, you know, they're boxing or whatever. I see what Tank's doing. You know what I mean? He's basically trying to load up on my son. He's trying to get him out of there. He's trying to swing his hardest. You know what I mean? And the shots just aren't landing. You know what I mean? He might, they're just not landing like that. You know? So one round goes past. Then Floyd hops in the ring. Floyd hops in the ring. I don't know if he's trying to freeze my son up because he's still talking shit a little bit. So it's almost like he's trying to freeze him up so Tank could get a good shot on him. You know what I mean? But my son's tuned in. You know, he's aware. He's alert. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. Doesn't work. You know, 3 rounds pass. Floyd jumps out the ring. I basically tell him
3 rounds. 3 rounds.
3 rounds already passed.
Okay.
He gets in the ring. So meanwhile, when we first came in the gym, they told us 4 rounds. So my son's already thinking 4. I'm thinking 4. Okay. So here comes the 4th round. So in the corner, I tell my son, drop your nuts a little bit. You know, let him know who Lolo is. You know what I mean? So my son get out there. He started doing his thing. He's doing it. You know, they boxing. They speed it up a little bit. You know, Tank starts trying to come. You know, my son is throwing combinations. And Floyd's talking about don't run now. So my son stay out there in the middle and just started letting his hands rip. Boom, 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 boom. You know, ends it on a good high note. Everybody's oohing and on. You know what I'm saying? You know, boom, the round is finished. Okay. Now my son walks up. As Tank's walking to the corner with Floyd. My son walks up behind Tank. He puts his arm around his shoulder. Almost like he's his little brother. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, you know, little brother. You know what I mean? He grabs him in tight around, you know. He looks at him. Tank's looking at him all funny, like, what the fuck was this little kid doing, right? He puts his arm around him. He says, good job. He daps his fist. He daps Floyd. He daps the corner. He says, good work. You know what I mean? They frustrated. They're like, hey, wait. You know, we want more rounds. Wait. You know what I mean? You know. So at this point, I can hear the frustration and everything over there in that corner. So I yell out, you know, this is my son. So I yell out at this point, and he's 16, you know.
Man, that's funny.
Came up at this point, you know, everybody let out a big sigh. You can hear it, you know what I mean? Tank's over there. My son telling my Tank's yelling out, he can't say that. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, you mean you can't say that, nigga? You know, you feel a little embarrassed or whatever, right? So Floyd turned around. Oh, we don't care about no age. What, you know what I mean? What that mean? You know, I said, you know, at this point, I'm thinking, yeah, you might not care, but you gotta respect it. You know what I mean? You know, my son earned that respect. So we get out the ring. Everybody's dapping his hand. Everybody's coming up to my son. Good job, great job. You did great in there, young man. You know what I mean? You get so I look up at the ring at this point. Floyd looks at me, gives me that nod. You know what I mean? So I nod back. You know, I'm kind of smiling. I'm you know, my chest is big at this point. It's my son.
It's your son.
Yeah, this sparred Tank did his thing. So Tank at this point yells out, "I don't know why you smiling." So I say, "Nigga, because that's my son. That's why I'm smiling." Right. So at this point, Floyd he intervenes. He basically tells Tank at this point. He says, "I remember when guys got the better of me in sparring. You know, just take it as good work. You know, it was you know what I mean. It's great work. They're fighting for trophies. We're fighting for M's. You know, he try to pop it and whatnot. You know what I mean. But That's cool. You're fighting for him. I get that. Yeah. So why are you mad? You know, so he was mad, you know, he frustrated, you know, he had to calm him down, you know, and then Floyd got out the ring and basically looked at us like, I don't know why your son's still amateur, you know. That's what he says, you know what I mean? And then he also says out loud, I can make your son world champion by the time he's 18. You know? He didn't want to say it loud because Tank over there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he don't want
to in his emotions and whatnot, you know what I mean? He's feeling emotional, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's because everybody's smiling at my son and shaking his hand and everything. I don't know, you know what I mean? But you know, he kind of ruined the part where we wanted to take a picture after and everything. You know, why you so he's yelling out, don't come back and all this. Why you don't want us to come back? Why? Because my son put his hands on you? But I thought that's what boxers do. You know what I mean? So where's the frustration? You're really mad at a 16-year-old? You know?
Oh man, hey, your chest all the way out. Hey.
Oh man, hey, at this point, what? At this point, I'm looking like, man, I'm looking at Floyd like, yeah, y'all was looking at us like food when we walked in here. Sure. But by the time we ended, everybody was dapping my son and coming over. All the mad dogging and all that stuff cut out. Everybody smiling, asking about his Instagram and whatnot. You know what I mean? The ore just kind of broke. You know what I mean? So, you know, after that, you know, we walk out of there. We not. You know.
Oh well, his phone died. Nigga didn't take his charger to the bathroom. I'm sure he'll beam right back in. I'll get his name. Oh, he's right back. Hey.
Yeah. My bad.
Hey, why are you in the bathroom though?
Cause shit. I mean, you know, I got a lot of kids, bro. I got 6 kids. I got 5 boys. I got 2 boys. My oldest son, he was ranked #1 in the nation. My middle son's ranked #1 in the nation. My third son's ranked #2 in the nation. Wow. So we got a fighting family, so they might be even sparring in the room right now. You know what I
mean? You got to bring your son out, man, and have him talk about the sparring too.
Yeah. You know, we'll do that. You know, if you want to, but you know, he's 16, man. He's humble. He's quiet. He's not a bragger. My son he wasn't cheesing. He wasn't giggling after.
Charlie Lolo was his name.
Lolo. They call him Lolo.
What's his full name?
His full name is Charles Harris. Charles Lorenzo Harris.
Charles. Okay.
Yeah. Charles so they get Lolo from Lorenzo. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it's his sparring. If you ever want to look up any of his sparring or anything on YouTube, you just type in Lolo boxing. Lolo boxing. Yeah.
Did you who all was in the gym? You got senior, you got junior, you got Tank. Who else is in the gym?
You got like Andrew Tabiti, you got Thomas Hill, you got you know, it's all the little Mayweather's peoples, man. You know what I mean? I'm not from Vegas, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it was a gym full. They was coming to watch the sparring, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You know, it was the usual crowd, I guess, down there. Okay. You know, but those were the names I knew. You know, I don't know nobody else really up there. You know, everybody, like I said, was giving us the cold shoulder when we walked up in there. You know, but that's cool because I've been walking in gyms with my son since he was 8 years old, and he's been handling stuff since. You know what I mean? You know, and this was no other day right here for us. You know what I mean? It really let me know where we stand with this whole boxing thing, and that I do got something special.
So you're turning pro on the 21st?
On the 21st in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah,
you doing it quick. You ain't playing.
Yeah, it'll be live. It'll be live on the little LA TV, like the Mexican channel and whatnot. Yeah.
Okay. And
Friday at 6 p.m.
Have you spoken to Bill Haney about stuff like that? Bill Haney took his son over at 16, 17 as well.
You know, I'm not tied in with all these guys, man, and I don't know if they might feel a certain way because we were looking for that sparring, looking for work. But you know what, man? When they were young, they were looking for the same thing. You know what I mean? They were looking for the same thing. So sometimes guys feel like I'm being arrogant because I'm saying I was looking for Dev or whatever, but we were looking for that sparring. We were looking for smoke. You know what I mean? I mean, we're fighters, man. You know what I mean? How else can I word it? You know what I mean? We were looking to see where we was at, and that's that. You know what I mean? But so I don't really know them like that. You know what I mean? But salute to them. You know what I mean? I'm not a hater. I believe in what I got. You know what I mean? And as you can see, that's why I went to Vegas for that.
Yeah. So if you could score the rounds, I would have been 3-1, 4-0.
If I could score the rounds, I'm gonna tell you just like this. Let me tell you. Tank landed about 6 shots of the whole 4 rounds.
No, he didn't, dog. He's a world champion, dog. You ain't gonna.
Hey, listen.
You cap it now, nigga. You cap it now, nigga.
Listen. Hey, do the research. Call the gym. Do whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do.
They're gonna be talking about this tomorrow. Don't worry about it. They're gonna be talking about this tomorrow in the gym.
They need to talk about it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, honest to God, Tank landed about 7 shots. He only landed 1 hard headshot, which he loaded up on. It was a straight left. It didn't even move my son's head. I swear to God. His head didn't buckle. His legs didn't buckle. Nothing. His chin didn't even move. Matter of fact, he shuffled up on him after that. Like, oh, you finally got one in, huh? You know what I mean? He landed about 3 underneath shots. About 3 underneath shots. My son took it. Never hurt him. You know what I mean? And that's it, man. You know what I mean? He was too busy trying to pose and move around. He didn't want to get embarrassed by the amateur. Once you start sparring with him, my son's about 5'9". You know what I mean? Once you start boxing, you know that my son got a stick and all of that, man. So it ain't you can't just walk in on him and throw bolo punches like you're doing on these other cats. You get what I'm saying?
So if Tank landed 6, how many punches did your son land in 4 rounds?
My son was landing flurries, man. He was letting his hands go as usual. He was a
Calculated.
Huh?
Calculated. How many punches would you say he landed? Estimate.
It guesstimate in the whole sparring?
Yeah, 4 rounds. Yeah.
I say at least about 30 punches.
30 punches, landed about 30.
I'd say about 20. I'd give him 25 to 30. You know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you this is why Tank wasn't trying to engage. He was sliding around the ring the majority of the time while my son was stalking him. You get what I'm saying? So you trying to do that pro and show everybody you got defense. How come you're not trying to mix it up and throw big shots in there with him? You know what I mean? That wasn't our fault. We were engaging. You know what I mean? But the last round, everybody got to see my son let his hands go, though, for sure, when he kind of stayed in the middle of the ring with them high guards, and my son started busting through them damn high guards and whatnot,
It's how did Tank look? How much you think he weighed? How did he look physically?
He probably weighed in his low 150s. He's in fighting shape. He's posting Red Cash videos and everything like that. We knew he was in fighting shape, Oh,
you think Tank is in the 50s now?
I mean, I'd say when he sparred him, I'd say he was low 50s. You know what I mean? Maybe high 40s. I don't know. He's built so different to me. I've never seen nobody built like him. He's short and he had like a little stomach there, but I couldn't. He's built heavier down to the waist and everything.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
You get what I'm saying? I'm used to looking at my son. He's kind of, just an athlete. He's got an athlete build. He doesn't got the little belly and all the stuff.
Yeah. Did you or did you get an invite back? Or you going back to the gym? Or
they wanted my son to stay out there for $500 a week as a sparring partner. I said we didn't come for the potato chips.
Say it again. We need what? We did come
for the potato chips.
Hey, the fact that you told Floyd no was very impressive, dog.
Yeah. Yeah, but people told me that Floyd wanted my info after and everything. You know what I mean? So he's seen that skill up in there. Whether it was his guy or not, he's seen my son's skill set up in there for him to go with a world champion for 4 rounds like that, and knowing that they was back there probably cracking jokes talking about whooping this little kid's ass. You get what I'm saying? It just couldn't happen. Not that day. Not that day. Not with Lolo.
How much did your son weigh that day? 5'9".
142.
142.
Yeah, I'm fighting him at 145.
Are you gonna fight him? You're not gonna push him to 130?
I wanted to, but it was such a short little thing. We just kind of, it was a couple weeks out. Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how was the comment? So was there did Floyd did anyone else come up to you besides Floyd Jr.?
It was all types of cats coming up to my son.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They was giving it up, man. They was giving it up. They seen it themselves. They seen it was something special in there, especially when I let the cat out the bag that he was 16. You know, yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of folks. It was a lot of folks up there dapping my son that day. Whole lot. That's probably what had Tank upsetting his feelings too. You know what I mean? You know, like I said. Hey, now you know what I'm gonna tell you. When Floyd said, I remember being outboxed, but at times with my sparring partners, that kind of let me know that was the biggest good thing that I heard that time down there. When he said that, he kind of solidified what I thought of it, that my son did up in the ring. Yeah. He handled his business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got that working. Are you going back to Vegas anytime soon?
Maybe after this fight. You know what I mean? Maybe if we could, you know. You know, it's just so, it was just so, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people say, oh, well, if you go back, Tank's gonna have a chip on his shoulder. Well, Tank had a chip on his shoulder when we were there. You know, I don't give a damn about this nigga getting mad. You know what I mean? You got to fight in the ring. You know what I mean? You could throw them little pissy fits all you want, but in the ring, you got to put the gloves on and move around and actually throw shots. So, I mean, if, you know, if my son did spar him again and he opened up more, it's gonna be more openings for us. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean?
You're right. It will be more. If he opens up, it's definitely more. Who offered you the $500? First, let me get Big Dog Willie. Big Dog Willie, salute to the chat. PSA, fuck Dillian White. Hey, Dre's Finest. Shout out from Fred from Florida Avenue Grill, DC on deck. What's up, Dre Finest? I appreciate you, big homie. Who offered you the $500 a week?
You know, the guy that hooked me up with the sparring was a guy named Kaipo. His last name is Kaipo. He hooked me up with the sparring, and I called him after the sparring. He sounded all happy and joyful and everything. He said, man, I heard you did good out there, man. They want you guys to come back for $500 a week. You know, so I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, that's not what we came for, bud. You know what I mean? We came to see where we are at. You know what I mean? Really, you know what I mean? And, you know.
And now you have supreme confidence now.
Oh, yeah, it's out the roof probably. But, you know, but my son already knew that he could handle himself in there, man. You know, when you get a special fighter like that, they got all of the things, their mind got to be so tough mentally to be a fighter. You get what I'm saying? So first he had to gird himself in there, and then he had to make sure, you know what I mean, he did his thing. So, you know, his mental, my son's mental is so strong. He's not shook by all that talking and looking, you know, all them Tank Instagram videos, you know, because he believed in his skills, you know.
Do you have any video footage at all of?
Man, first thing Floyd said when he came to the door, no recording. But I think they said one of my partners said that one of his security guards was in the back taping that sparring or something. You know what I mean? He was by the door taping sparring or something. So you know, if they could release it, they got the footage, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tank. I'm pretty sure somebody at Tank recorded.
It was plenty of people that seen. You could do the research down there if you want.
No, I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna edit it out and guess what they're gonna be talking about tomorrow in boxing. Yo, son. You know what I mean? Basically, you know what I mean? Tank got beat up by a 16-year-old in sparring.
Yeah.
You know I mean? And Floyd approved, you know what I mean? So I mean that this channel always sending waves through the boxing channel, man. I appreciate, man. It's something about the comfortability of the barbershop, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know another thing too.
What's that?
When you go down to Mexico, record the whole fight. And I'll give you my number and send it to me on WhatsApp, and I'll upload it that day.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So and the more you do it, same thing Devin Haney did, you know what I mean? Excuse me, Haney did. You know, go down to Mexico, footage and all that. Feel free to send me the footage on WhatsApp because I can just upload it straight to my YouTube channel. You know what I mean? As long as they got no like, you know, no music and stuff in it. You know, like that. And I'll gladly do it because, you know, and I'll when you email me, I'll put you in touch with Bill Haney and maybe he can give you some tips on going down to Mexico. You know what I mean? And I don't see nothing wrong with this. You ain't say nothing bad about Tank. You know what I mean? I'm protecting you right now. Let me protect you right now. You know, I don't see nothing wrong with it. He ain't saying nothing bad. You know what I mean? It's momentum. You know, it's business. You got to forget boxing is a capitalist sport. Boxing ain't, and everyone is an LLC. Everyone is an entrepreneur. Everyone is is a sole proprietor in boxing. You know what I mean? And
right.
I definitely wish you well. And after your fight, come on back in. You don't need no set time. Just come on in, you and your son, and we got some young fighters, young dads in here, and give them and talk about your first experience going down to Mexico as a pro, and how that works out, and send the footage, and I'll upload it, and I'll be glad to be a resource for you, as
I appreciate it, man.
As it pertains you moving forward, for real. I
appreciate it.
Yeah, you gotta get out that bathroom though, because niggas worried for your life. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, his wife mad at him. His kids don't love him.
For real, hey man. Hey, well, I appreciate you having me on, man.
All the time, man.
A lot of people don't support. You know where I'm at? I'm in Southern California. So
where?
I'm in San Bernardino.
Oh, San Bernardino. Yeah.
I'm just telling you that the way the sport is, the division of blacks and Mexicans and all of that, everything out here, we're not gonna get the same love out here. You get what I'm saying? So, we appreciate all the support, man.
Yeah. My channel will give you a bump, you know what I'm saying? And then other channels will start picking it up, and then you'll get more and more energy. Same thing Tank did. Same thing Tank did when he sparred Shakur Stevenson the night before Sean Porter, Adrian Broner fight. It's the same thing, same type of energy. The same thing Earl Spence when he sparred Floyd, it got out, he got momentum. All this comes into play, dog. All this comes into play. You know what I mean? And yes, keep on building it. You know what I mean? You got a story. Shit. You know what I mean? You did great.
And I kept it 100 with it. Like I said, you could do the research because I kept it 100. This whole thing, they can't say anything was a lie that I said. Everything was right there for you, man.
Charles Harris is his name, and his son name is Charles Lorenzo Harris Jr. Right?
Yeah.
16 years old, opening up 135 in Mexico on August 21st, and
6 p.m.
Yeah, and you got a pen? You got a pen handy?
Okay.
Oh, just DM it to me. Here. I'll.
You say I could DM it to you?
Yeah, you see Silent Heroes on the. Yeah, just DM everything to me, and we'll move forward from there. Yeah, that'll be cool.
You want to do that?
Yeah, because Blue Blood lurking in the chat. He's like, "Who is he?" I'll link you over Blue Blood till you can go on the Blue Blood tomorrow or something. You can holler at Blue Blood. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
So how do I send you the info?
Silent Heroes on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Silent Heroes on Instagram. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it off of my son's Instagram because I don't got no Instagram.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll get it done.
Okay.
I appreciate you coming in, dog.
Okay, man. Much love.
All the time, King. All the time, for sure.
All right.
All right, one. Bring Lolo on and give us the IG real quick. Yeah, he gonna bring Lolo on next time. Yeah, he'll bring him on, and we'll get him. We'll get him. Yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, that's life. That's life in the big city. You know what I mean? Shit. Salute to him and his son. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, man. So we back.